But I don't know, you get to, when you carve something, you carve a nose or an eye or a mouth, a lip. I think you start to understand what a lip is and what space it occupies, what shape it really is. I think only sculptors really know the shape of something. I think, now I've painted too, and if you're a painter, you think about it. If you're a painter, you have to paint a flat surface. You don't have to worry about what's 1 inch back in there. If you're as the canvas, you're worried about the surface. This is three-dimensional. You've got to worry about depth. You've got to worry about that thing all the way around it. Now, of course, you say, well, boy, the back of the head doesn't look too good either. I agree there. It's not as interesting as the front, and nobody's back of their head is interesting as the front of their head. But as you can see, that's quite hard to turn even on there. My children were born when I was about 30 and 34. So this was when I was about that old. And like I say, this is the first time I'd really been, I'd done a little bit of carving in soapstone or something like that, but it just nothing of this big a thing, and it's the first time I did marble. But I remember my kids would sit on this thing when they was little, and so that's the reason it's so dirty up here. But I've never bothered cleaning it. I guess I could go outside and scrub it with a brush or something. But I see it's got some little nicks on it, so they've run some of their toys into that at one time or the other. Maybe it hit them with some of their toys or something. I won't blame it on them. Fact is, I don't really think that much. That hair wasn't done that well anyway. So, but I thought I would show you this, and you get the ears tucked back in and stuff back behind the hair, and it was just a good learning problem for me. All the time I taught, I thought, I've got to learn more and more and more, and as much as I can about whatever I am into. Like if it's in oil painting, I want to learn the most I could in the fastest time. Because some student is going to come along and say, can you help me do a sculpture or something? Of course, when I would do something, I would try to get the whole bunch involved. Of course, we worked in clay, but I taught sculpture, and each person in my class did a portrait of somebody in their family. They had to bring pictures of their granny or papa or something, and we did them in clay. And I'm sure a lot of those students will tell you today that they still have them and look at them, and they wouldn't take anything for their efforts on doing good portraits in clay. But the only thing about carving something is you're destroying parts of it. Clay, you can always put it back on there. If you cut off too much nose, you can put some back on there and smooth it down, and nobody ever knows the difference if it's in clay. But I like the idea that thing is there, and it's so permanent. It's there for, unless somebody takes a notion to destroy it altogether. Of course, if they throw it in the garbage and it ends up in a landfill, 10,000 years from now, if they were digging around in a landfill, if you pull that out of there, it'd look just like that, provided you washed it off. It wouldn't deteriorate at all. Especially in a landfill, water couldn't rain on it or anything. But anyway, if you ever wanted to try some, and I even have in the basement, I have a marble headstone that the sculptor was doing it and got the wrong day that the person died, or the wrong something, maybe misspelled the name or something. But anyway, I got it from a person who carried it around in the back of his pickup truck that would help him get through snowy weather. It added some weight back at the back end of the truck. And he said, "Would you like to have this tombstone?" I said, "Yes." So I brought it and put it in my basement. So if I get to it, I'm going to carve that tombstone into something. Now, I don't know, it won't be a tombstone. I'm not going to do that, but I would carve something. I'll carve something artistic and stuff, and it's about that thick, and about so tall. You've seen tombstones, but nice big. And by the way, I have another hunk. It's almost exactly like this. It's waiting on me. It's a little bit shorter, maybe about an inch, but it's waiting, and I'll give it a try one of these times. But you can just you can work with this stuff and be real fine, and like I say, sandpaper it, whatever, to smooth it, or you can leave it rough. You'd like doing it. I even told my wife, said, "I think I'll put that somewhere out in the yard." And she said, "No, you're not going to put it out inside." She wants to leave it in the house. So I've left it sitting over in the corner for all these years. I hadn't found really the right place to put the thing. It's so heavy. But it's good for grandkids to sit on and stuff. They like sitting on top of that thing. If you think of anytime you ever think of anything, say, "Boy, I wished I could ask him this," I wished you would. I wish you'd just send in some little old note. They'll get it to me and say, "There's a student asked this about that." And I'll explain it if I can and tell you about it. But I think it did end up looking something. I didn't want to copy Michelangelo. I'm just learning. But it does look like his, a little bit like his sculpture of Moses. His Moses, by Michelangelo, has some horns coming out of its head up here. They'll stick up about like that, about that far. There's two horns there. And when Michelangelo was going to do Moses, he reviewed it and stuff, and I think the way the story goes is in the translation of the original writings in the Bible, it is translated probably into, I don't know, whatever he's reading in, maybe Italian or something. They missed something in translation, because I believe the Bible version of it was that he had rays coming from his head. And Michelangelo, the word for rays or something came so close to horns or something that he determined it could only mean that Moses had horns coming out of his head. But the next time you see the sculpture of Moses, you look up there and you'll see these little horns. They're 2 or 3 inches long, one on either side. They're supposed to be rays, maybe from the heavens. I don't know, but anyway, that's kind of a little story that goes along with that sculpture.